Welcome to today's news wrap up. Let's dive right into the top stories making headlines today. A new book titled Fight Inside the Wildest Battle for the White House claims that Barack Obama's leadership left the Democratic Party in a weakened state. Now, I would agree with that. Written by political journalists Jonathan Allen and Amy Parnes, the book describes how Obama focused on building his personal influence rather than strengthening the party. That's because Obama is a raging narcissist. Well, Organizing for Action, a nonprofit he launched in 2012, diverted resources and energy away from democratic institutions. By the end of his presidency, the party had lost over 1,000 seats and control of Congress. The book also reveals that Obama hesitated to support Kamala Harris after Joe Biden stepped down, only endorsing after party pressure. Democratic strategists now acknowledge that his approach contributed to the party's struggles in recent elections. President Trump's new trade policy, which includes a universal 10% tariff on all imports and additional reciprocal tariffs, is already prompting negotiations with several countries. Vietnam, for instance, is considering reducing tariffs to zero in exchange for a free trade agreement, while Israel has agreed to eliminate tariffs on U.S. imports. The European Union has proposed lowering car tariffs and increasing purchases of American energy and military equipment. Other nations like Japan and South Korea are exploring concessions to address trade imbalances. Trump emphasized that these tariffs gives the U.S. significant leverage in trade negotiations with many countries eager to renegotiate terms. President Trump urged Americans to remain patient as new economic policies take effect, emphasizing that the country is undergoing a significant transformation. He described the effort as an economic revolution aimed at reclaiming financial stability and restoring American jobs. Trump highlighted that over $5 trillion in investment has already been secured, with more growth expected. He also pointed out that China has struggled to respond to the tariffs, imposing its own 34% levy in retaliation. The president remains confident that these trade measures will ultimately strengthen the nation despite potential challenges ahead. The unfolding developments continue to shape the global economic landscape as negotiations and countermeasures evolve. President Trump has accused the French government of using legal tactics to silence Marine Le Pen, a right-wing politician recently sentenced to 4 years in prison and banned from running for office. She is the French MAGA. Make France great again. I think she was Trump before Trump. She was like the pre-Trump, and they always been trying to do something to Marine Le Pen because she's a populist leader, and they can't have that. She's anti-globalist and all those other things. Like I said, she's like the female Trump. So they're doing this to try to get her from running because they know she will win. But he described the case as politically motivated, likening it to his own legal battles in the U.S. Le Pen and her party were found guilty of misusing EU funds for domestic activities, but she claims the ruling is an attempt to undermine democracy. And I'm going to add here as well that past people that ran for French Parliament, French prime minister and things like that have been charged with the same things, and they were allowed to run. But I guess because Le Pen is so-called far right, they won't allow it to happen. International leaders, including Italy's Giorgia Meloni and Hungary's Viktor Orban, have criticized the decision, arguing it de-enfranchises millions of voters. Trump expressed admiration for Le Pen's resilience and called for her release, framing the situation as a broader issue of free speech and political fairness. Antonio Gracias, a member of the Department of Government Efficiency, revealed that over 1.3 million non-citizens are currently enrolled in Medicaid and accessing various taxpayer-funded benefits. Crazy, 1.3 million. He also discovered that thousands of these individuals are registered to vote in certain states, with many having participated in elections. Gracias described the situation as shockingly bad, noting that some of the individuals receiving benefits are on terrorist watch lists or have criminal records. You can't make this stuff up. This is the stuff that the Democrats are trying to hide. They don't want people to know this information. But he emphasized that this issue is not political, but rather a systematic problem within America's social safety nets. Efforts to address the matter include ongoing prosecutions and further investigations into benefit programs and voter rolls. During an interview, Tucker Carlson shared his experience of encountering a concerning message on his Chevy truck's infotainment screen while stopped at a gas station. The message indicated that the vehicle was downloading information from the internet, prompting Carlson to immediately sell the truck. Well, this is kind of common now. We see this now with a lot of the newer vehicles, this thing happening. But he voiced concerns about data collection, suggesting that such technology could be used against drivers by insurance companies. I mean, we're already seeing this. You know, a lot of companies are having the safe driver check things. You plug this thing up into your vehicle and it checks your driving, or you log on to an app or something and it checks your driving and stuff for insurance companies to keep tabs on you. It's crazy. But a GM spokesperson later clarified that the message was likely a routine software update similar to those found on smartphones, emphasizing that customers could disable connectivity at any time. Carlson previously expressed appreciation for older vehicles, noting that they lack electronic tracking features. His remarks have reignited debates about digital privacy in modern automobiles. President Trump's approval rating has climbed 4 points following the introduction of sweeping tariffs on imports, dubbed Liberation Day tariffs. Even though the mainstream media try to blast these tariffs, try to say it's going to ruin the economy, people are going to starve, and all these other things that mainstream media have been trying to push, trying to say, and trying to lie about. Despite all of that, Trump is actually gaining in points, which goes to show that their propaganda no longer works. But a new poll conducted by Daily Mail and JL Partners found his approval rating now sits at 53%, up from 49% the previous week. The strongest support came from voters aged 18 to 29, where his popularity surged by 13 points. His backing among Democrats and independents also increased by 6 points, with black voters showing a remarkable 17-point rise in support. Analysts suggest that ongoing negotiations, which have led multiple countries to waive tariffs, may further boost his popularity. Despite concerns over market instability, these measures appear to be reinforcing his political standing. That's because he's staying true on his word. He told us that he was going to bring in tariffs. Matter of fact, Trump talked about it over 30 years ago. He's actually keeping to his word for once. A politician is actually doing what they said they would do. A former federal employee and a green nonprofit executive have been charged with vandalizing Teslas in Washington, D.C. The couple allegedly defaced vehicles with anti-Elon Musk slogans, targeting cars near their Capitol Hill neighborhood. Authorities are investigating the incidents as potential hate crimes, with penalties including jail time and fines. Why are people still doing this? They know you're gonna get the book thrown at you, right? With the accused claim their actions caused no property damage and are seeking fair treatment in court. Are you serious? The case has sparked discussions about political activism, accountability, and the role of public figures in shaping public sentiment. I mean, this is ridiculous, right? President Trump has been implementing a deliberate strategy to reshape the U.S. economy, even if it means temporarily disrupting the stock market. His approach involves injecting cash into U.S. treasuries, forcing the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates, which in turn allows the government to refinance trillions in debt at lower costs. The administration argues that these moves will weaken the dollar, reduce mortgage rates, and ultimately make refinancing more appealing to American households. Tariffs are another critical component of the plan, designed to push companies to manufacture domestically while lowering grocery prices for consumers. Trump's economic policies primarily affect the wealthiest investors, while middle-class families are expected to benefit from lower costs over time. Supporters see this as a bold effort to shift financial power, though critics remain skeptical about the long-term consequences. But I think ultimately was the decisions that Trump is making for our economy is going to benefit everyone in the long run. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. That's all for today's news wrap up. Stay tuned for more updates, and don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.